Good afternoon, guys. It's Working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar. This is the 4-hour chart on Bitfinex. And Bitcoin, I want to kind of start off with a bigger picture, guys, just to reiterate. I told you last time, but I wanted to, again, reiterate that we're obviously getting squeezed tighter and tighter within a larger wedge. If we look up, guys, this wedge kind of started somewhere about July 26th, been tested a couple different times since then. If we look at the bottom of the wedge, it's a little unclear as to where that is exactly. I can start it. I can start to draw it all the way back here, possibly June 24th, somewhere thereabouts. I can take some liberties, cut off some wicks, and have it look something like this. Other people I could see are drawing from this wick down here, possibly even this larger wick here. If I kind of zoom in, this little crash right here where we bounced right off of this 6100, that's valid as well. However you're drawing this wedge, guys, there is no question that price is getting compressed. It's getting squeezed. It's getting lower highs, higher lows. And as that happens, as that approaches the apex, we expect a larger breakout. So having a little more conservative, if I just draw a wick to wick, a little more conservative wedge here, this is what it looks like. And we are approaching the apex here. So as it gets closer to this area right here, we can expect a breakout in one direction or another. Now, zooming in here, what are we looking at? We can see that price stayed above this 65.40 resistance for quite some time, came down, or excuse me, support, came down, tried to break through, bulls pushed it right back up, but just recently, just actually prior to me making this video, we had this this wick that just fell down right below this 65.40 support. Now, if you look at the larger wedge, guys, this is almost to be expected. We can see it's been bouncing back and forth, bounced off the high. We would expect it to come back down, possibly test the low, then back up, and then possibly test the high again for a breakdown, or possibly just impulse right back up. Either way, guys, it's not too unexpected to expect price to come back down, possibly test the bottom of this wedge. That being said, we've been watching this kind of ascending support line here that's been in place since September the 8th, and has held and been tested 1, 2, 3. Other than this one flash crash here that we had, that not so much actually. It's technically not a flash crash, but this very quick wick down below, hitting 6100, impulsing right back up. Other than that, it's been tested quite a few times and held. Now, if price does come back down, this may be that wick. So we might be looking at an apex, or the wedge. So we might be looking at an apex somewhere in this area for a breakout. That's very possible, guys. We're watching either or, and I can't tell you which one it's going to see. But I would say if price does end up coming down, and you're looking for an entry point, this wouldn't be a bad idea to start dollar cost averaging in if you haven't already. Somewhere at this wedge, or somewhere around this area right here, which sits at about 63.90. Now this is the area. Let me get rid of this a little bit. This is the area that I am expecting if price does break down decisively. And again, by decisively, I mean a 4-hour candle that both opens and closes below this 65.40 support. If price decisively breaks below 65.40, I wouldn't be surprised to see it come down to this area here, sitting at around 63.80, possibly. However, we could, if I zoom in here, there may be some support right in this area, right here, sitting at about 64.50, 64.80, somewhere thereabouts, guys. And we can see in the past, we can see here it acted as resistance, here it acted as support, support, support. Finally, it fell through, came up, resistance, bring it back up, back down, resistance, support, support, support. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities for price to just break down, possibly hit this zone at about 63.80, somewhere there, or excuse me, 64.60, 64.50, somewhere in that neighborhood, guys. But if it does break below that, then I'm watching this area down here, which has been tested numerous times as well, somewhere around 63.80, somewhere thereabouts. If that does break down, I think there's a good chance we're going to come down to 62.80. Almost in $100 increments, guys, we're finding this support zone. So if you're looking to enter into a buy on Bitcoin, dollar cost average in, I'd be watching somewhere in this zone here, somewhere in this area. Wouldn't be a bad play. But if that does break down, then coming down to this area, 62.80, somewhere around the support line of this ascending support of this larger wedge, if it does get down there, this would make a lot of sense to start dollar cost averaging in down in that area. Now, knowing that if we do end up breaking down, if price does, as it approaches this apex, does end up impulsively breaking down, guys, and we break 6280, as I told you guys many times, we're going to come down to 6100, I think, very, very quickly. And if that gets tested again, guys, that's going to, I have my doubts as to whether or not that's going to hold. I do think a break in either direction right now is probably going to take out the lows, the bottom of the prior support, which in this case would be 6100. To the upside, I think a break up could possibly take out this 6750 resistance that we've had a hard time breaking through. Now we broke through by the, with a body right here, but we've had not had a decisive breakthrough above 6750. And again, by decisive I mean a 4-hour candle that breaks, or since it, I should say, we haven't had a decisive break since it did here, since it broke here back in August. It's been unable to decisively break above. And again, by decisive, I mean a 4-hour candle that both opens and closes above 6750. If we do get a break up, I would be very surprised if that 6750 held. I would expect it to possibly come up, hit that support, or excuse me, hit that resistance, initially get rejected, regroup, consolidate, and then break right through this 6750 resistance area. And if that does happen, all eyes are going to, excuse me, sorry guys, got something in my throat there. All eyes are going to be on this 6950 resistance area up here. This is the zone that has to get broken. Again, zooming out here, or zooming out, guys. This is the zone. This 6950 is that 618 fib level of the prior pivot high up here. So again, for those of you that may have missed it, we go swing low, swing, or excuse me, swing high, swing low. We can see that right here, this 618 fib, the golden pocket between the 618 and the 65 fib level, that's the area that has to get taken out. That's the area that Bitcoin has been unable to retrace past since January 2009. So these 9 months, 10 months now, Bitcoin's been unable to retrace past this area. It's constantly getting rejected right around this area. If we can break that, that's going to be an extremely bullish sign. Looking at our indicators, starting off with the MACD. Again, this is on the daily. Once again, backing up the wedge pattern on price, we also had the same thing on the MACD. Again, on the daily MACD, we can see that the, again, disregard the signal line and the MACD line here, or for those of you that don't know what that is, disregard these blue and this orange line, and just look at the histogram. In other words, the red bars here, and we can see that we're getting squeezed. They're getting squeezed tighter and tighter and tighter. Again, this suggests a possible breakout in the next 10 days or so, somewhere thereabouts. This apex would go all the way to somewhere around October the 12th, but I would expect it to possibly break out before then if we're using this as a guide. And this doesn't mean that we have to, guys, but it'd be a great coincidence that we're seeing this wedge pattern here on price. We're seeing this squeezing on the histogram with the MACD, and then if I come over here to the daily RSI, what else are we seeing? The same thing. We're seeing the RSI get squeezed tighter and tighter and tighter here on the daily, also showing the apex running to about August the 15th here on the RSI, somewhere thereabouts, guys, suggesting a similar time frame for a breakout. So that would be a very big coincidence, guys, if we did not get, if we're showing this squeezing on all three indicators on the daily, and it did not happen. Now, it doesn't mean that that it can't happen. This thing might just keep moving sideways, and it could fake everybody out. But I would be very surprised, guys. Very rarely do you see price get squeezed like this without a larger move as it approaches the apex. Now, if we come over here and we look at the daily daily moving averages, it's on the daily chart. We can see the 8, 21, and 55-day EMA represented by blue, yellow, and pink, or magenta, some would say, the magenta line there. They're all getting consolidated. They're all getting basically consolidating, getting compressed all on top of each other here. This is also a sign that we're going to see a larger move to come. Anytime you see the 825 and 55-day EMA all getting squeezed on top of each other, there's usually a bigger move to follow. Now, we also have the Bollinger Bands, the daily Bollinger Bands getting squeezed tighter and tighter on top of each other, guys, or bottlenecking here, I should say, not on top of each other, but bottlenecking here, getting narrower and narrower. As that happens, again, guys, that suggests a larger move is in the not too distant future. So all signs are pointing to a possible larger move. The question is that move going to be up, or is that move going to be down? And I would be prepared either way. Again, if you wanted to start dollar cost averaging in, not a bad idea to do that. Just be aware that price may come down to a much lower level. And if that does happen, I would have fiat on the side so you can take care of that, or excuse me, so you can take advantage of that. Again, not financial advice at all. This is just my personal opinion. You do whatever you'd like, guys. I'm just here to give you my opinion. This is not financial advice. This is just for entertainment and informational purposes. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I would appreciate an upvote, resteam, or a like, depending on where you're viewing this. Until next time, guys, please trade safe, take care of yourselves. This is Working, signing out.